welcome back. It's Freaky Friday edition of Liquid Lunch on Newsmax TV. I'm John Tobacco. We're coming to you from Newsmax headquarters in Midtown Manhattan, just above Bryant Park. And downtown Manhattan, the New York Stock Exchange is still in the green, well in the green, up 270 points. And a little Friday recovery will be much needed, and a rest for the weekend may bring some people back from the Hamptons. And maybe the markets will be up again a little more next week. But some geopolitical stuff, fears are resting right now. And when we want to mix it up on the show, we bring a Republican, a Democrat, and we demonstrate how we want to talk to the purple people of America, sane people with practical ideas. And today on the right, we have Joe Pinion. He's been with us many times. And on the left, we have a Newsmax contributor, humorist, and ambassador for the American Diabetes Association, Rob Taub.
Hello, John.
And Rob is the writes centrist sentiments for Newsmax. It has left bent but practical type fella. And,
I'm a sane liberal.
Wow, that's like an oxymoron, I think. Is that right?
No, there are knee-jerk liberals, there are complete jerk liberals, there are sane liberals. I'm a sane one. I get caught usually.
Last of a dying breed over here.
Because I'm fiscally responsible.
Well, we need a couple of sane ones around here. But so, guys, the first topic that I want to talk about today, and the Netanyahu tells the two congresswomen, Tlaib and Omar, don't come, which was ticky-tacky. And then, you know, they reverse course and say, okay, come. And now the congressman says, we're not coming. How do we end this stupidity, Joe?
I mean, it's really... If you're going to boycott Israel and encourage people around the world to boycott Israel, you shouldn't be actually confused when Israel decides they're going to boycott you. So I think there are two things we have to talk about. Number one, does Israel have the right to tell people who can and cannot come to their country? Absolutely. Then the other issue is, should the president be weighing in on matters of private citizens or even members of Congress about where they can and can't go? I think those are two distinct things. I think in the interest of Israel, it's very clear that if you have people who are literally telling people to boycott and divest, which is literally a threat to your financial security, which is also a threat to your national security and a threat to your existence, I think you have every right to tell people thanks, but no thanks.
Rob?
Joe, that was remarkably articulate and well said. But I'm going to look at this, and I'm a Zionist. Okay, and I'm a Jew, I'm a Zionist. I feel very strongly. I actually sometimes really support Netanyahu. But as a strategic move, it was ill-chosen. He's not even a good tic-tac-toe player. Forget about chess. If he allowed Tlaib and Omar to come into Israel, I guarantee you they would have made one of the most idiotic comments or multiple crazy comments, and they would have buried themselves, because that's what they do. They're very much like Trump. They're impulsive. They say the wrong things. They would have come to Israel and they would have outraged American Jews. And instead, American Jews are outraged at Netanyahu.
Well, I think I would go back. I'd say that I think that would have been a wise strategic thing to do. Having said that, I don't think this was a matter of strategy. I think for Netanyahu, it was a matter of principle. To say that, look, the Jewish state exists to make sure that the Jewish people will no longer have to live in fear. That you are talking about people who are literally trying to drive us into the sea. And when you have individuals who literally self-acclaimed leader of the squad, AOC, who has to go on firing line with Margaret Hoover and announce to the world, well, I'm not a foreign policy expert, when she gets asked about, well, what is it, this whole occupation of Palestine that you're talking about? And she says, well, I actually don't really know what I'm talking about. And yet no one seems to call them out on that. But they're allowed to pontificate on matters they don't know, which has literally the difference between living and dying for the people of Israel. I think if Netanyahu says you can't come here, more power to him.
Rob, it's not a laughing matter, obviously, but Joe sounds like he's a Zionist, and because he's talking from the heart about what's important to the race.
Omar would have gone to Israel and would have said, I don't call this Israel. I don't recognize Israel. This is Palestine. And then she would have outraged more Jewish people than instead of Netanyahu outraging them. You do have to play chess at times. And so you're still adjusting your principles, but you're doing the right thing. And instead, he's letting them lie with the Democrats in the rest of the country instead of separating them. And it'll be an unhealthy, unholy alliance. I don't care for the squad.
This is literally a holy war over land that has been an ongoing saga through the history of the world. And you would think that, maybe sometimes Netanyahu's over the line, but you would think a country that is telling people, two congresswomen and others who are saying, don't invest. If you're invested, get your money out. They're trying to affect the Israeli nation by policy. So you want to come here to grandstand. I know what you're saying. Let him blow it himself up. But instead,
but now they're made out to be the victims, and they would have come in, and they can't help themselves. They would have been the aggressors, and I know it would have resulted disastrously.
So
they always say the wrong thing.
This is really, this is a land war. It's a religious difference war. But in other news, another land grab is Donald Trump is seeking to buy Greenland. And I could see it now, the big gold Trump letters on the highest mountain in Greenland with the American flag on it.
That was amazing. I just said, look, and people say, well, it's its own place. I said, well, look, Texas was its own thing, too, until America came along. You could make the argument America was its own thing until we made it America, right? And so I think that, look, it's one of those things that only in the era of Trump could we be sitting here talking about how much dinero is it going to cost for you to cough up the land of Greenland.
Man.
But I just think I don't even know what to think, but
Rob,
I just think it's pretty amazing that we're even having this conversation.
Rob, put on your humorist cap, because I see a sketch here.
Yeah.
It looks like a Saturday night episode where, Donald Trump comes in the room and says, all right, everybody, here's what we're going to do now. We're going to buy Greenland. We're going to ship all those people we don't like. We're going to ship them, make them citizens of Greenland.
We're going to move all the people that I don't like. Anybody who doesn't say anything nice about me is going to have to go to Greenland. The average temperature is 39.7 degrees Fahrenheit there. It's a terrible climate. The people are all losers, but we got it cheap.
The joke is on us because Trump's over here pretending he doesn't actually believe in climate change, when the reality is he's trying to make sure he gets to Greenland first so we can put up some oceanfront property.
Yeah, I'm
That's
thinking
what's happening right now.
maybe there's some way we could do, hey, all the progressive left can go to Greenland because you love the Green New Deal. This is your Greenland. Go make any Greenland
I sent
policy
you an email. I don't know if you got it because you've been busy on the air, but I typed into Google Maps Greenland, and it said it couldn't get me to that location.
Really?
Yeah. Or I was going to go. But,
So, I don't know. He is a great developer. Maybe he's got some big plans for Greenland.
Well, look, I don't think it's as crazy as people think it is. If you take a step back, right now we're engaged in kind of, this proxy war in the Arctic, right, where we all know that there's tons of natural resources up there. It's going to be a major thing, particularly as the Arctic shelf continues to melt away. So that's going to be a real thing. And I think that if there is an opportunity to get to Greenland, because obviously America's been outflanked by Russia, by China, when you talk about what's happening in the Arctic. If there is a way for us to get a foothold in Greenland, even if we're not purchasing the place, I think that's probably something that's strategically in the long-term best interest of America.
Even if we're not purchasing the country.
In defense of Trump, Harry Truman did offer to buy Greenland during his presidency. So it's not the first time a president has ventured into this area.
I'm thinking the way Trump loves ice, I'm thinking the next conquest is Iceland. You know what I mean? And then he could have all the training facilities for the Immigration and Customs Enforcement. They could have their headquarters there, ICE in the Iceland. And then Iceland and Greenland, where the progressives are, can go to war. The Iceland versus the Greenland. But, all right, guys, final minute. The China trade war is like now it's just becoming a war of the words because we set a deadline, then we bring it back, then they say they're going to do something, they don't do it. What are your thoughts on China war?
Look, I think the president did his best to try to fight the fight that no other president was brave enough to fight, which is to make sure that we can deal with this currency manipulation and we can deal with the fact that China is not a fair arbiter. But you have to stop now. Right. The reality is that the thin perch upon which his re-election hopes are resting is the economy. And if China decides to show up right after the Iowa caucus and drop the hammer on the American economy, he's finished. And so that's where I think it is right now. I don't know what your thoughts are.
I'm going to agree with that, but I think the problem that Trump has had is he always places his set of principles and business understanding from the real estate world into the global marketplace. Okay. And you can't negotiate with one person, the president of China, the way you do another real estate investor where you're going, you can keep the chandelier, I'm going to take the I'm going to take the toilet.
I'm going to take us into break, mixing one up on Rob's Trump impersonation. We're going to mix it up a little more right after this.